Ramadan, be blessed by the divine. Welcome to the show, Vandana.
Thank you. Be blessed.
Today, let's spend some time on learning about balcony gardener and balcony gardening in general. I've collected a series of questions. The first question is, how do I get started on gardening in my balcony?
If you have a sunny balcony, then you can grow flowers, fruits, herbs, and even a different kind of vegetables there. If you have a balcony that is slightly shaded, you may want to think about growing green plants such as foliage plants like ferns and philodendrons, money plants. Once you have decided on what plants you can grow, the first addition that you need to your garden are the planters. You can walk down to a nursery close to you and pick up the kind of planters that you want. The industry has so many different kind of planters to offer. You can have concrete planters, plastic pots, grow bags, ceramic pots, FRP pots. Just so many available variants of materials that you can use for your planters. You can also ransack your kitchen to see what old and used containers are there, from big boxes that you're not using anymore because they have a small hole. You can even look into your attic and see if you have an old bucket or an old mug. Some people get creative and even use old suitcases to be able to grow plants. So that is what we call as a recycle garden. You can use tires, you can even use drawers. Anything that can typically become a planter can go right into your balcony garden. We've got the planter sorted. Then you need to understand what is the plant media that I use for the garden. A plant media typically consists of 60% of red soil, about 20% of farmyard manure, another 20% of coco peat. When you mix these together and fill all your different planters, you then have to think about what is the plant that you can grow. And since you already know what plants you want to put into your garden, you just have to plant the sapling and there you go, your garden is ready. Few of the aspects that you need to remember is drainage. In the container, you have to make a drainage hole. A drainage hole typically is on the bottom of the planter, just a small hole over which you can place some gravel or some sand just to prevent the soil or the plant media from flowing out. The drainage hole helps in being able to drain off the excess of water that is there in the container. We don't want our planter to be stagnant with water because that then leads to different kinds of fungal infections and diseases for the plant, and it lowers its immunity. So once you have the drainage sorted and you have a good enough soil and manure media and of course sunlight, little or lots of it, you are good to go and get started on your gardening journey.
Excellent. How do I treat bug infestation in my garden?
Pests or bugs will infect your garden only if there is a problem with one of three factors. One is sunlight. If you have placed flowering plants or plants that require a lot of sunlight in a garden that doesn't have a lot of sunlight, the plant's immunity lowers and therefore pests will attack your garden. The second aspect to think about is, are you overwatering or underwatering your plants? If it's either of the two, again the plant immunity goes down and it becomes susceptible to pests and diseases. The third aspect is, have you manured your garden? Does it have a healthy mix of soil and manure? If it's been a long time since you provided any nutrition for your garden, then it's time that you add that dose of manure so that you can provide the plant with all of the nutrients that it requires, improve its immunity, and therefore there will be no pest infestation at all. But if a pest infestation is there in your garden, look at different options like using neem oil, chili, ginger and garlic paste, or even basic pressure spray with your hose pipe to get rid of the pests.
During these COVID times, I want to start a balcony garden because I'm stuck all day inside, but I have very limited space. Where do I learn to do this?
If you want to start a garden during the lockdown or during these COVID times, turn to your kitchen to be able to find any sort of seeds and cuttings and plant matter from your refrigerator that can typically go into start off your garden. Like I said, a recycled garden is a lot more fun to create and bring to life than actually going out and buying planters. So if you have old buckets and old mugs and other containers in your attic or in your space, use that to make your planters. In our Indian kitchen, we find so many interesting items, especially in the spice rack, from mustard seeds where you can grow mustard plants to methi or fenugreek, which can be used to grow pot full of methi leaves that can be used for your stir fry or your sambars and other dishes. Chilies, the dry red chilies have seeds in them, which is pretty much a packet of seeds by itself. Take a few seeds, drop it into your planters. If you open your refrigerator, you may find capsicum, different types of gourds. You may find the tops of carrot and beetroot. All of these can be used as a starter or a seed in your kitchen garden or in your balcony garden. The bottom part of celery with a little bit of roots can be used to make a whole new celery plant. Onion can be planted directly into the soil to grow into a new onion plant. Potatoes, gingers, tomato seeds can be dried and put into your garden. So there's a lot that you can do from your own kitchen spice rack or your refrigerator that can go in to start your own garden.
Can I make a green oasis in my balcony? Can I really make my balcony look nice, you think?
Yes, you can start your own little green oasis in your balcony. It's left up to your own creativity and your motivation to see how much of the space you can convert into a garden space. From hanging planters, railing planters, planters that go onto a wall, of course planters on the ground where you can create multiple levels. If you have access to a garden stand with steps, you can have multiple steps of planters. You can even have small bowl-like planters that are right at the bottom of each step. So it's left up to your own creativity, and if you have the enthusiasm and motivation to green every inch of space in your garden, then you will be creating the best space in your whole house, which will be your garden in your balcony.
How do I design my balcony garden the right way?
Get in touch with us. We have a team of enthusiastic garden designers and botanists who will create a designer balcony garden for you.
Lovely. I want to ask you a few questions before I ask questions regarding Urban Mali's design services. I want to ask some questions about the plants for a balcony garden. What is the best plant for a balcony?
Almost all of the vegetables can be grown in a balcony garden, from tomatoes to cauliflower, cabbage, beans, some of the gourds, all of your herbs, all of your greens like spinach and amaranthus, methi. If you have space for a larger drum, then you can even grow your fruits in your balcony garden itself. In terms of flowers, all of our puja flowers, from hibiscus to nerium or oleander, different varieties of jasmine, tulsis, Crocandra or Kanakambara, Shankapushpi, Spatika, all of these are plants that can easily grow in containers and you can accommodate them in your balcony garden. If you have a garden that is slightly shaded, all of different varieties of ferns, philodendrons, aglaonema, spathiphyllum, these are some of the plants that not only grow in planters but also purify the indoor air. It is beneficial for you to grow these plants in your balcony.
How can I attract birds and butterflies into my balcony garden?
You can definitely attract birds and butterflies to your garden. When we talk about butterfly plants, there are plants that produce nectar, which are food plants for butterflies, and there are other plants that are host plants, where typically a female butterfly would lay its eggs on, and therein the egg becomes a caterpillar and the pupa, and the entire life cycle of the butterfly is completed on that one plant. Some of the common butterflies that we see in Bangalore are the common mormon, the lemon butterfly, the Jezebel, the yellows and the blues, and these get attracted to plants like periwinkle, asclepias, which is the milkweed plant, curry leaf or lemon plant are very common plants to see the lemon butterfly on. Some of the other butterflies like the crimson rose, and the common rose butterflies get attracted to many of the aster plants, and they would lay their eggs and even visit them for nectar as well. Having these plants in your garden will definitely attract a lot of butterflies. Birds would come to a garden for nectar, wherein some nectar feeding birds like the sunbirds would visit your garden for nectar. Birds would come probably to get some berries or even collect some leaves and twigs for their nest. Sunbirds are common visitors in balcony gardens. Munias would come to a garden if any of your grass plants have started to produce food. These are some of the birds that can visit your balcony garden as well.
Very good. Thank you. Do you have balcony garden plants that repel mosquitoes?
The truth about mosquito repellent plants is that just having a so-called mosquito repellent plant in your garden is not going to keep the mosquitoes at bay. Mosquitoes will be in plenty if there is an open water source with stagnant water like a stormwater drain or any kind of sewage canal drain, or even a garbage bin which is close to your place of residence. Mosquito repellent plants are most effective when you take few of the leaves and rub it on your skin so that the essential oil breaks down from the leaves, and that is what would keep mosquitoes away from biting you. Some of the plants that are used to avoid mosquito bites are citronella, lemongrass, Euphorbia hitta. These plants, growing them in your garden is very useful because when you see a lot of mosquitoes around you, few leaves of these plants just rubbed on your skin will really help keep the mosquitoes away.
Where do I buy these plants for my balcony garden?
All the plants that can grow in a balcony garden are found on our website urbanmali.com, from vegetable saplings to seeds, fruit plants, herbs, flowering plants, and even mosquito repellent plants can be found on the website. Do log on and get them for your little balcony space.
You also offer plantings and accessories for my balcony garden?
Definitely, from garden tools, garden gloves, planters, even the soil and manure and cocoa peat can be found on our website urbanmali.com. Please visit it. I'm sure you will enjoy the list of items that we have there for you.
I want to move away from just asking about plants to vegetable gardening in the balcony. Does it really make sense to have a vegetable garden in a small balcony?
If you are keen on being able to be part of the process of growing your own food, then a vegetable garden space is enough to be able to grow a few little greens and chilies and tomatoes for your own consumption purposes. If you're looking at being able to grow food so that you don't have to go to the market anymore, then a balcony garden may not be able to provide all of the different vegetables and the quantities of which you may need for your kitchen or for your home consumption. Some of the vegetables that you can grow in plenty, or rather the greens that you can grow in plenty, are palak, dantu, methi, pudina, coriander. All of these can be grown in more than 2 or 3 containers so that you can stop buying greens and the small herbs for your consumption from the market. If you want to just experience growing different vegetables and tomatoes and chilies, radishes as well as bendi, these grow and produce small quantities that give you the joy that you grew them yourself.
Great, you have answered pretty much all the questions that I wanted to ask regarding vegetable gardening. So let me ask about some sunlight and balcony gardening. What are the best plans for a small outdoor porch, but that doesn't get much direct sunlight?
Shade gardens of plants that have diffused light or lesser number of hours of sunlight, say from 2 to 4 hours of sunlight, require a different set of plants to be able to enjoy the experience of having a garden. Some of these plants are ferns, aglaonimas, the peace lilies or the spathiphyllums, different kinds of dracaena, philodendrons are some that you can get your garden started with. If you consider the forest structure, these are plants that are found right at the base on the forest floor, and they have evolved to be able to grow with very less amount of sunlight and still thrive. These plants won't produce flowers or won't produce any fruits because production of a flower or a fruit is an expensive activity for the plant. It would rather not invest too much into producing these expensive items and then just produce more leaves, because leaves are what produces energy for the plant to keep growing. So all of these plants are green and leafy, but they add that lovely tropical feel to your balcony garden.
I live in the second floor apartment with a balcony. Which plants or flowers can I grow? Will wind be a problem if I live in the 10th floor?
Wind is a problem sometimes when you have young plants that haven't reached their full size, but they are tall enough where they get affected by the wind speed or the intensity in which the wind flows through the garden. If you have smaller plants that are just about growing, wind could potentially hurt these plants and you may not see it grow and achieve full size. So these plants that are still growing should be kept in some sort of a covered space, or if you can create certain barriers like a small fence or any kind of structure where the wind speed could be broken down and therefore then doesn't affect these plants. But fully grown plants like big shrubs and some smaller trees will not be affected by the intensive wind speed and would be able to happily thrive in a sunny and a windy balcony.
Should I have small potted plants or large containers in my balcony?
If you have small potted plants, you can of course have many small potted plants because you can cover more ground and the number of plants can definitely increase. If you have large containers, you may end up with just about 3 or 4 of these large containers, because these containers tend to weigh a lot and you don't want to put too much weight on your balcony structure and therefore then have problems in the future. I would say maybe one large container and rest of them as small ones would be the best for your garden.
How do I turn into a container gardening enthusiast?
Balcony gardening and container gardening is all about just the experience and the experimentation that you do in that space. When you start small, you learn a lot in that little space, and then when you keep expanding, you learn so much more about the garden that you have. I would advise you to start small, be part of the experience, understand soil, understand plants, understand manure, understand light conditions, and once you have a better hang of it, then expand your garden. And so when and how your experience of gardening is improving, go ahead and expand your garden and then get creative to whatever extent you would like.
Where can I find herb plants for container gardening?
Visit urbanmali.com. We have a range of different herbs, from Indian herbs to Italian herbs, and you can pick out any ones that you'd like for your balcony garden.
Are your recycled containers really cute containers?
The recycled containers that we have at Urban Mali are designed by artists and product design specialists. Using old wood, putting it together, giving it that colorful splash and structure and strength and durability is something that these designers enjoy doing. So we have wooden containers, we have old plastic containers that have been redesigned to be used as planters, and really colorful ones. The artists who design these give it that extra splash of creativity that really makes your balcony garden look so much more lively.
What do your balcony garden services include and what do they exclude?
We have 2 services. We can set up your balcony garden for you and we can maintain it as well. Setup includes a complete installation of all materials required for the garden setup along with the gardeners who will set it up for you. A garden maintenance would include gardeners who come on a regular basis and maintain your garden to keep it healthy and fine.
Do you have any balcony gardeners near me in Bangalore?
Definitely. Our gardeners travel all across Bangalore. Depending on if you are in the urban part of Bangalore, our gardeners are available to come to your home and service your garden for you.
We also have a gardening expert in container gardening who can come and set it up in my balcony.
Yes, we do have experts who have been working with container and balcony gardening for many years together. Get in touch with us on urbanmali.com and we'll set up a container garden specially for you.
How does a balcony gardener work? typically from Urban Mali when they come to my home?
When the date has been finalized for your garden setup, the gardeners would come over with the materials such as the planters, the media and the plants. They will first align the place the planters, then add the mix of the soil and manure into these planters, do the planting, and then give the entire place a total cleanup, and there you go, a ready container garden for your tree.
How many balcony gardeners are there in your team?
We have a total of 53 gardeners who are experts in being able to set up and maintain balcony gardens and other gardens of different sizes.
How much does a balcony gardener cost?
A balcony garden would typically cost anywhere between 5,000 to 15,000 rupees for the entire balcony garden setup. A balcony garden maintenance would cost 900 rupees for a 4-hour service.
Do we require 4 hours to service a balcony garden?
A balcony garden could take about 4 hours if the gardener is visiting on a once-in-a-month basis. When the gardener visits, there are typically quite a few tasks that he needs to take on, like trimming and pruning, loosening up the soil, removing the weeds, attending to the pests, and doing a general cleanup of the entire garden. If a garden takes only about 2 hours to maintain, our gardeners cannot use those additional 2 hours to visit another garden, and their half-day livelihood is reduced because of having lesser time spent in a garden. So therefore, we encourage balcony gardeners to take our gardener services once in a month, because the rest of the time you only need to water your plants. The gardener comes and tends to all other activities and tasks that are related to your garden.
How often should I invite your gardener to visit my balcony garden?
Once in a month is more than enough for the gardener to visit your balcony garden. The rest of the week, you just have to regularly water your plants, and that 1 month visit is when the gardener would take on all the other activities related to your garden and create a healthy garden space.
What should be the duration of sunlight that is required in a balcony garden?
If you have a sunny balcony, anywhere between 6 to 8 hours is great to grow vegetables, flowers, fruits and herbs. If you have a balcony garden with 2 to 4 hours of sunlight, then it's best you grow ornamental foliaceous plants which can thrive in lesser amounts of light.
How do you secure plants on a balcony?
If you have railing planters or if you have hanging pots, these are the planters that generally are slightly risky. In this case, you would prefer to ensure that these are held tightly. The railing planters can have some additional support wherein these railing planters are attached more strongly to the railings themselves. It's better not to add any extensions from your railings on your balcony gardens. This could cause issues wherein planters can fall down, or the support that you're providing as an extension from the railing could also fall down, then creating any sort of hazard for people who are standing downstairs.
Does your gardener come and prepare soil?
Part of the maintenance activities is ensuring that you have good plant media. So if you have soil and manure, the gardener would use the soil and manure and add it to your planters, help improve the quality of the soil.
Do you have any preset balcony garden designs? Is there a brochure, or do you provide balcony garden planning services?
We have created some very simplistic designs using different types of containers for your gardening space. You can visit urbanmali.com and check out the different packages that we have for balcony gardens.
Do you also sell a balcony garden kit like planters and accessories?
Our garden packages such as vegetable garden, flowering garden, herb garden, puja garden, shade loving plants gardening packages are suited especially for balcony gardens, and they are pretty much a kit that you can set up yourself or you can take our help to set up.
You also sell window boxes, hanging baskets, etc.?
Yes, we do sell window boxes, hanging planters, railing planters on our website urbanmali.com.
Can you custom design a bespoke window box to suit my specific balcony dimensions?
Yes, we can custom design a window box using recycled material for your balcony garden.
What about my window sill? Can you convert that into a stunning, beautiful gardening space?
If you give us any inch of space with a desire to have a garden, we will use our creative minds to be able to make that into a garden for you. You just need to ask.
Have you heard of cocktail gardening? Do you know how to set up a cocktail window box containing herbs?
There are different herbs that are used in cocktails like mint and spearmint and peppermint. These are very, very easy to grow on a windowsill as well as a balcony garden space, and we can definitely create a cocktail garden for you.
My balcony is practically indoors. So can you convert an indoor balcony space into an attractive garden space?
Many people these days are getting into indoor gardening or using house plants, as they call it. House plants are plants that love lesser amounts of sunlight, and there are many variety of calatheas and ferns and philodendrons that love growing with lesser amounts of sunlight. But plants don't grow in darkness. So if you have a dark spot, it would be challenging for a plant to grow in darkness. If you have a spot that is near a windowsill, remember 2 to 4 hours of sunlight is a good space to have an indoor garden.
What are, say, 5 common mistakes I must avoid if I wish to have my own balcony garden, with the help of Urban Mali gardeners, of course?
The 5 things that you need to remember when you're taking care of your balcony garden with our support is: 1. Watering. If you forgot to water your garden for 2 to 3 days, it's very important that you tend to your plants right away. Number 2. Because we love our plants so much doesn't mean that we have to over pamper them and over water them. So don't over water your garden. Number 3. Do not use any chemical pesticides. You may have gotten frightened looking at the pest on your plant, but using chemicals will affect the plants and also keep the birds and the butterflies out of your garden. If you have a pest infestation, get in touch with us and we will organize a maintenance visit sooner than expected so that we can take care of your space without you having to worry too much about the pest. The 4th aspect to remember is ensure that water is draining out of your pot. If water is not draining out, then the stagnant water can create root rot, which could lead to fungal infections, and fungal infections will typically show up as white powder on the underside of the leaf. Check the drainage hole and ensure that water that you're watering your plant with is getting drained out from the container. The 5th point is, if you have any fertilizer or manure at home, ensure that you are offering it to the plants only once a month, or if you put it around the roots more than once a month, the plant is not able to take on the excessive nutrition that you're giving the plant, and this would lead to problems like yellowing or leaf burn and other symptoms as well. But if you haven't given manure to your plants for 6 or 7 months, then it's better you get that manure and offer it to your plants. Part of our garden maintenance packages is that we get manure for your garden every month so that your plants are happy and healthy.
Do your gardeners visit home during pandemic?
Yes, our gardeners are working with all the precautions during this pandemic.
What kind of precautions do they take?
All of our gardeners are vaccinated. Even if they haven't gotten both their vaccinations, they've at least gotten 1 dose. They wear their mask continuously, they sanitize regularly, and they will maintain social distancing while they are working at your garden space.
Thank you so much, Vandana, for joining us in this, and I hope to see you soon with the next show very soon.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for Kavalam then.